Hey there, Nate here, and we are looking more in our series on overcoming sentence errors. Let's take a look at comma splices. A comma splice is a sentence error in which two independent clauses are joined by a comma, and a comma cannot join independent clauses. If you don't know what I mean by independent clauses, I encourage you to check out our two-part series on clauses. But suffice it to say for now that an independent clause can function as a complete sentence all on its own, and thus doesn't need to be tagged on to anything else. And that's the trouble with the comma splice, is that it's taking two sentences that can stand on their own, and by adding that comma, making it look like one or both cannot function as a complete sentence on its own. So the easiest way to correct a comma splice is to replace the comma with a period or, if appropriate, a semicolon. Quick rundown on the rules of semicolons. There's a close causal relationship or logical relationship between the two sentences, and at least one of the sentences is short. So let's look at some examples here. The first sentence, I need to go to the store. I can pick up milk if you need me to. So if you have received feedback that comma splices are an issue for you, that's probably the number one way to check in on this, is to check each of these breaks and see, do I have a complete sentence? I need to go to the store. Makes sense as a complete sentence. I can pick up milk if you need me to. Makes perfect sense as a complete sentence. So we replace that comma with a period, adjust capitalization if we need to. We don't here because I is always capitalized. Bingo, bango, bongo. We have corrected our comma splice. Let's take another look. The data proved inconclusive. The researchers pursued a second study. Okay, so I checked that comma break to see if I had complete sentences going on either side. I do, but this time decided, I think there's a close causal relationship. And that first sentence is only 4 words long, so let's try a semicolon instead. We could use a period. That is correct as well. This is a choice that we're making to highlight that causal or logical relationship. Now be careful. Sometimes independent clauses themselves will contain appropriate commas. So it's not just a matter of, I was told I have a problem with comma splices. I just need to replace every comma with a period. Doesn't quite work because you may be also using some commas correctly that are not splitting sentences, that they're not connecting sentences that shouldn't be connected. So it's not simply a matter of replacing a comma, but instead focusing in on independent clauses, more specifically, what works as a complete sentence on its own. Let's look at one more example to see what I mean. If you are going, I want to go as well, we can make a plan. So if I look at that sentence and think, I need to replace every comma with a period, we're going to run into problems. If you are going, well, I'll give you the hint. It's a dependent clause. And dependent clauses can never stand on their own in formal writing as a complete sentence. If you are going, I want to go as well. I'm going to tell you dependent clause followed by independent clause most of the time is going to have a comma in between. Now let's look at that last bit. We can make a plan. That sounds like a perfectly valid sentence to me. So when we are correcting this, we need to preserve that first comma because it is being used perfectly correctly. Our result, if you are going, I want to go as well. We can make a plan. By the way, I just demonstrated another way that you can check on your punctuation, and that is to read your work aloud. It, for a lot of us, maybe not everyone, but for a lot of us, we can hear those breaks in the sentences more easily than we can perceive them visually. If this is not a practice that you've tried, try it out. Maybe it will work for you, maybe it won't, but it's worth a shot. All right, that's everything that I have for now. Thank you very much for viewing. Have a wonderful rest of your day and flame forward.